Oh, great. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And we're really enjoying it. He bought it as a rental property, and then we decided to just move into it and fix it up. And but I'm excited to I want to have a big garden this spring, and it'll be fun.
On the corner right there.
It's on the corner of Linden and White.
So it's that one right across the street from the community garden. The one on the corner.
The one with the big pear tree. Yeah, we've got some yard work to do, so
It was right down on the opposite end of the block. Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we're in the neighborhood. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I could just shoot straight down White and come pay y'all a visit.
And that's exactly where I'm, on the corner of White and Beaver. That's where I am at.
Cool. Okay. Awesome.
Okay.
That's great.
All right. Hi, Marty. I wasn't supposed to be here, Marty.
I thought you were going to Denver.
Well, Jerry Campbell did a fast one on me last night. We didn't get home until about 7:30, 8 o'clock. He got stuck up a quarter of a past. I had to go pick him up. He left his vehicle up there. Now he's going to stay. He was doing an appraisal, and he thought he could make the road and into the property, and he was, but it's an empty house. So by the time he called me at 5 o'clock, it took me a good while to get up there, and so we didn't go to Denver today.
Okay.
He's got to go get the 4 stuff today. There's always something, Marty. Always.
That keeps life exciting, Camilla.
Yeah, well, it was. It was kind of, the road was muddy going up there. I saw a lot of elk, turkey, and deer, and almost a dozen deer on the road.
Yeah.
So I picked it up on the road. I was sitting there. But anyway, life, that's how it is.
Okay, I see Tom's there. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning. Good morning, Mayor, Camilla, Christy.
Good morning.
Is everybody on?
I'm on. Hi, is that you?
Yes, I'm here, Marty.
Okay, we're just waiting for Chris then. Oh, there's Chris.
Jared, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Tom?
Good. Glad to see you on board.
Yeah. I'm glad that you see me over here rather than the other place.
Yeah, I haven't gone for a couple of weeks. I went last week, but I didn't go this week.
Okay,
That's all right. Remember, as we're working on, so you don't have to go over there. We'll just enclose the pool here, and you can swim here all the time.
Oh, I sure hope so. I swam 2 miles Thursday, so it was a good day.
You're like a fish, man. 2 miles. That's a lot of swimming.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody's present and accounted for. I'm going to start the recording, Tom.
Thank you.
This conference will now be recorded.
I'd like to call to order a special session of the Trinidad Tourism Board at 9:01, Wednesday, February the 24th. Marty, you want to do a roll call?
Campbell.
Here.
Press.
Here.
Luttrell. Here. Michaels.
Here.
Miller.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Reappointment of Tourism Board members, Simon Michaels and Tom Crass.
Okay, so we can make a motion to reappoint those tourism board members. If somebody will make a motion, and then I can get a second.
I'll make a motion.
I second it.
Okay, and then we can take those separately. So, Cy, if you'll abstain, we'll vote on Cy Michaels. All in favor of reappointing Cy Michaels to the tourism board, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Cy, you are back on officially, and then All in favor of reappointing Chris? Tom, you'll abstain, please.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, Tom's back on. Thank you. That was quick and easy.
Hey, Marty.
Yes.
Marty, this bill, like I say, those reappointments will go in front of council as well, just to let them know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Number approval of
Adjourn. No.
we have one more item on that. Approval of publication printer's proposal for printing the 2021 visitors guide, visitors travel guide.
So in your package, you will see the two presentations from publication printers. At an earlier board meeting, the board's decision was to print only 20,000 copies versus the 40,000 that had been printed previously. And that would be to make it easier if we have to make major changes to the visitor guide. So that number actually came in lower than it was earlier proposed. It was earlier proposed at 17,000, so we're down about $500 or so. So the total for printing 20,000 visitor guides is $16,502.67. I'll need a motion to approve that so we can get those moving.
I'll make a motion to approve the publication printers bid for the house. Second?
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Alrighty, you can get that rolling then. The second one is for the restaurant inserts. We decided to print only 5,000 of those inserts so that we can stay on top of any closures or new openings, etc. That bid also came in under the estimated amount that we had anticipated by about $30. So I would need a motion to approve the restaurant insert for $977.24.
I'd just like to ask a question on that one, Marty. Now, if we use the 5,000 and we go back and have to reprint, do we present that back to the board that we're gonna add the cost for 5,000 more? Is that the way that'll be done?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
You'll
All right.
see on your sheet a price for an additional 1,000 would be only $48.24 for another
Okay.
5.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Hey, Tom, you know, something I want to mention, and of course, your budget is already passed. But one of the things you guys may want to do is give maybe Marty the leeway, like in this case, whenever you have a small expenditure like that, just to allow her to do that, maybe up to whatever it is, a couple $100 or whatever you guys come up with. That'd be something you guys may want to consider in the future. That way it wouldn't be something that you'd have to be in front of the full board whenever it's a small expenditure.
Okay. Thank you, Phil. We do have that, and she does have that up to $2,000.
Okay.
So we are set in that sense. Thank you.
Did not know that. Thank you.
Okay, then I still need a motion to approve the inserts.
I make a motion to approve the inserts of 5,000 copies.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Okay, I'd like to adjourn this special session. do we need a roll call on that, Marty, or no?
Okay, I froze. I guess I lost everybody. Sorry about that. So did I have a motion? I mean, did I have a consensus then to approve that?
Yes, we did, Marty.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. My internet here is horrible. Okay, sorry about that. All righty, Tom. And we can, looks like that's all for special session.
Okay. Regular work session call to order. Call to order regular work session for the City of Trinidad Tourism Board at 9:09 p.m. Wednesday the 24th at 2021. Do you want to do roll call, Marty?
Campbell?
Here.
Press?
Here.
Luttrell?
Here.
Michaels?
Here.
And Miller?
Here.
Petitions or communications, oral or written?
Hey, Tom, this is Phil.
Yes.
Well, one thing I want to mention is just for your information, as there's the group for the 5-star program that I think you've all heard about. We are working on that right now to try to get some of the local businesses to see if they want to participate. There's about 9 people on the group that we're working through the process and putting it all together just for your commission's information.
Thank you, Phil.
Tom, Teddy Wilson
Yes.
has requested permission to speak on the CDOT signage, and I see that he is in the meeting. So if you want to introduce Teddy.
Okay, Teddy Wilson, welcome to the Tourism Board meeting.
Teddy, can you hear us? Hello, Teddy. Looks like he's having some trouble getting on. Teddy, can you hear us? Tom, if you want to move on, then we'll wait
Yes.
till we hear Teddy, and then we'll just reintroduce him.
Okay, that's fine. Items for discussion. Christy Rogers on a website update. Morning, Christy. Welcome.
Morning, everyone. How is everyone?
We're all good.
Virtual world. Thank you so much for having me. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, and actually want to focus what I want to update you all on a few just specific items that Marty and I've been discussing. We've been, as I think she told you, been working on a website or webpage rather specific to the Santa Fe Trail commemoration event later on this year, and there's so many things happening that are going to bring people to town. And so we've been thinking about, there are a few sort of projects, specific things that we need to accomplish to basically to make sure the website is ready for use by a lot of people. And so things have come up that together over the course of the next probably 6 months will require more than the 10 hours that had originally been allotted to the website sort of maintenance per month. So it's like a project specific increase, and it would be a temporary increase, but I wanted to talk with you all about those items and just get your thoughts and see if that's something that might be feasible, because they really would. One is, well, actually 2 are absolutely necessary, but the third would really be a fantastic offering that we can offer people who are coming to town. So if it's okay with you, I can just explain those items, and then we can talk through what they would consist of, and just so you all kind of know what's going on and have a chance to ask questions and be informed. Is that okay?
Fine. Yes.
Great. Okay. Thank you so much. So the first item that that I need to address pretty much right away is what's called a template change or a theme change, and I will spare you the technical description, but basically any website has basically a layout that you insert content into and maybe set text or very sort of specific characteristics of the website. So ours has been having some speed issues, and as in sometimes there are times when it's very slow to load, and from a user perspective, that's a big problem, especially as we get more volume for the website. And anticipating this once again this summer that we're going to see more users. I spent time on the phone with GoDaddy, that's the host provider, and they told me it was due to the site theme. So we do need to change it. And that takes a little bit of time. Once you change the theme, you have to sort of reconfigure some aspects of the site. One bonus is that this gives us an opportunity to select what I would say is more of a tourism specific theme. Right now what we have is, it looks nice, but it's a little bit more generic. So tourism specific theme would be something that maybe has like an itinerary builder, or has it's just more appropriate for someone who's wanting to select from a variety of activities and sort of plan their trip. And so this could actually be a really good thing. And I am able to make a copy and develop offline and keep the existing site as it is, so users wouldn't experience any interruption. But it would take a little bit of extra time to do this development. So, and that because of the speed issue, it's something that we do need to do. So I just wanted to let you all know, and essentially get your official blessing to do that, and also let you know that it's kind of exciting. We're going to have a new kind of an updated, we could say, theme, because I want to stick with something that's similar to what's there now, because I know people like the site as it is, they like the look and feel, so we want to target something similar but with increased functionality. So that's the first item. So any thoughts or questions on that?
Is there any cost associated with GoDaddy for that upgrade then, Christy?
No. The only like increase in cost would just be that I would need extra time to allocate to this, and so I'm estimating probably about 15 extra hours over the course of the next 6 months. And granted, it needs to happen, right away. So that's going to be one of the first items that I target on this list.
Okay, that's fine. I think you just keep moving us forward. I think that's a great thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no problem with that, Chrissy. None.
Great. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to give you all a say in that, and be open to any questions you might have or anything. The second item then is very straightforward, and that's ADA updates. So those are pretty much non-negotiable. So Site Improve is the vendor that we use for that, and that's basically an entity that evaluates the site about once a week and gives us a list of items that need to be fixed to meet ADA requirements. And the Tourism Board site is by far the most expensive of any of the city-run sites. And we have, I think I looked, and it's about 4,000 pages that are in content groups and off content groups. I'll spare you, once again, more technical explanation, but so it scans all of those pages. And so I need to go in and quickly allocate, probably 10 to 15 hours is what I'm anticipating to get these changes made and bring us up to the level that we need to be at for conformance with that accessibility requirement. So just wanted to once again let you know, and that can be spread over the next few months, that 10 to 15 hours increase. But once again, that's another sort of item, no other cost associated with it other than I just need a little extra time to get that done.
So we'll be having the cost of the website and the ADA requirements, a total of about 30 hours for both of them. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep. Yeah. And I will say these, the hours that I sort of identified. That's a little bit. I wanted to overestimate rather than underestimate, and so it's probably going to be less than that.
Okay.
But just for your budgeting purposes, I wanted to let you all know, like, hey, this could take. This is a range, So it's probably going to be less than that, and especially the template change. But that's just kind of an FYI on that front.
Now we haven't had these before. Do you anticipate them like every 1 or 2 or 3 years? Is that the way you would anticipate them, or?
So are you talking about the ADA updates?
Right.
Yeah, no. So once we get up to this site was never. It was ADA compliant in some regards, but there are certain aspects of ADA requirements that I think it was never optimized to meet.
Okay.
And so once I do this, it will just be a matter of maintaining it. And this larger amount of time shouldn't have to happen again.
Okay. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. So
Sure.
we do have that. Go ahead, Chris.
So I just wanted to ask Christy a question, just for my own benefit, because I knew, what is the hourly charge?
Oh, so for website development, it's $70 an hour. That's contract.
Yeah, that's actually very good. Okay,
It is.
yes.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
Chairman
Phil.
Quest, I want to mention to you on that ADA issue, what Christy may want to do is to maybe inform Mr. Valentine of what she's having to do, because ADA compliance is such a huge issue. That way he's aware that the tourism board is moving ahead for ADA compliance. It'd probably be a good idea to keep him in the loop as to what it needs to be done and what kind of progress is being made along the way.
Thank you, Phil.
And Phil, just so you know, Christy is in direct communication with Audra on this, and keeping her updated and letting her know what needs to be done and what we're doing.
I'm not sure now that Tom Beach is gone. I'm not sure if Mr. Just is the person that is the ADA person. He may be. So, of course, she could find that out through Audra or through Mike. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Chris, I have a question.
Yeah.
On that ADA compliance, I was told that, so if the website links to another website, the website that it links to has to also be ADA compliant in order for.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And that's a challenge, because if I'm a user, I'm not going to know ADA requirements, and I'm like, why aren't they just providing me with the link? Like, that would be the easiest thing, So Marty and I've had to be creative in giving people resources without causing ADA issues. But yes, that's correct. Yep.
And is that only because the site is funded by public funds? If you had a private site, just some person wanted to do a site,
right?
And that doesn't apply.
It could, like, I suppose a person could be sued, like an individual, for not having proper accessibility, like a company, and Site Improve, when you go into the interface, has a specific benchmark for, depending on the type of website that it is. So for a city-run organization, the benchmark is 72. So we want to get it at least to that level or above. I'm aiming, I don't know why, that seems low to me. So I'm shooting for way above that, right? But yeah, so it's a site specific, the type of site comes into play there as well. So.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions for Christy?
Okay, Christy, do you want to explain the third aspect of of our project?
Yeah. So this one I'm super, super, super excited about. Did I mention I'm excited? Does anyone recognize this?
I can't see it very good.
It's kind of blurred.
Oh, okay. So it's a walk through the history of Trinidad. It's published by the Trinidad Historical Society. I think the last copyright was June 2007. The text was by Gerald H. Stokes, if anybody recognizes that name.
I do.
And, yep. Yeah. So, so it's an incredibly, if you haven't read it, you really should, because it's really engaging and well written and obviously thoroughly researched. So Marty and I want to make this even more accessible and like basically put it out there in a format that is going to allow people coming to town to consume it and to understand more about the history of Trinidad, which is really, as we all know, really extensive. And so we want to do a historical walking tour that's an audio tour. Oh, what's that? Oh, okay. And so we want to base an audio tour off of this text. And so I've been researching low cost or no cost options for doing this, and I actually found a phone app that's in use by various museums and historical societies, and BU up in Denver uses it, that allows a nonprofit organization or a historical society to build an audio tour or to build a walking tour for use by their users. And it's very similar if you've heard of the Travel Stories app. Has anybody heard of that?
Yes.
Yeah. So Travel Stories app is it's awesome, but it's incredibly expensive. Like, I think, Marty, how much was it that they were asking if we wanted to do something around Trinidad?
$15,000.
Right. Yeah. So pretty expensive. So because we would be developing this in-house, I would be willing to do. I'm so I guess passionate about it, or I think it would be such a value add, because right now we're at a time where people need socially distanced activities, where we want to give people a chance to learn more about Trinidad. And so we would be developing this in-house, or I would be developing it, so significantly less expensive, like not even comparable, really. My partner and I are both musicians, and so we have recording equipment already. That's I guess not state of the art, but that's high quality. And so I would be recording the audio versions of this text. And I've done voiceovers before in a previous lifetime for other endeavors. So we would essentially, if you look at the app, we would record the audio and then drop the text into the app. And then I've also been researching historical photos of Trinidad, of these different buildings. And so through the library here in town, through the Historical Society here in town, and also through Denver Public Library, if we could pull historical images of the different places, the different stops in town that are identified on the tour, then someone could be standing in front of a building here in town, could be on the tour. This also follows you via GPS, so that's pretty cool. And so someone could be standing in front of a building in town, listening to the audio, seeing the previous picture, like the historical photo on their phone, and then looking at the building. So it would be kind of an immersive dive back into history. So that's basically the concept. And Marty and I both are pretty excited about it. And we've been talking about doing something like this for a long time, but finding the right interface for, as I said, low or no cost was really key. So that's the concept. And so I'm estimating that to do the recording, to pull the photos and put those in there, the text is already done, so that's huge. That it would be probably about 30 hours, so it would be an expense, but I think we'd see a return on investment like kind of immediately, because I would also incorporate this into the website. So wanted to see what you all thought about that, and any questions or comments, wanted to open to that.
Camilla, I'll start with you. You have any questions?
No, I have no questions. I think it's a wonderful idea. I really do. Our history, yes.
Chris, how about you?
I think it's excellent. I've seen this in a few other places, something similar to what Christy's talking about, but it sounds like it's come a long ways and has a whole lot more to it than some of the older ones.
Amanda? Thank you, Chris. Did we lose you, Amanda? Sai, do you have any questions for Chrissy?
No, it sounds great, Chrissy. Thanks for all your hard work.
Sure.
Christy, what are you actually, what are you calling this? What's going to be the tagline on this, or what's going to be the name of this program?
Well, I mean, we actually haven't discussed that. So if you guys have the name of the pamphlet, let's see, there you go. That's a little better. So is a walk through the history of Trinidad. And we are, of course, going to, going to credit the Historical Society and going to credit Mr. Stokes for his work, because seriously, if you haven't read this, it's awesome. I mean, it's so well done, just very engagingly written. So we could call it.
We sell the old copies of it. I must have 30 books left of those long yellow books at the hotel. About a year and a half ago or whatever, we started doing some, and Marty had some reprinted for us. So now it's a great piece. But
and these are at the Welcome Center, Marty?
Yes.
Okay.
the reason why
Go ahead, Phil.
The reason why I ask is I just want to, when I report to City Council, I want to mention that this is something that you guys are going to be doing, and I'm sure they'll be very interested in hearing that this is going on, because that's something that I know Council has been willing to do for a long time, and someone to develop something about the history of Trinidad to keep it current. So I think that's good.
Yeah. And the only thing else I'd like to add, because I do use that book actually quite frequently. I know it really well because I've used it as understanding thought when I'm giving tours around. It is a great piece. Is besides the group, is it going to be? I just would like to know about, besides what's in there currently and the stuff that's wrong in there, because it's old. And what I mean about that is, I know it talks about the Colombian, it talks about businesses that are in the Colombian, but those are businesses that were in the Colombian when that got started, not current. Yeah. Is there going to be any other input? Will you bring that to the board, and maybe as being someone that gives a lot of tours, maybe give you some other ideas to add? Because I actually have that whole book with a whole bunch of notes in it, and I'd send it your way just so that you would know.
Yeah.
It's a great piece.
That's a fantastic. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Maybe it'd be a good idea for all of us to read through that pamphlet, and maybe some of us have some ideas or something to add to it.
Yeah, that would be phenomenal. And Marty and I have already discussed, to your point, Sai, and to your point, Tom, that we want. I mean, we obviously want to be sure that the information we're providing is updated and correct. And so Marty was planning to go through and correct things based on the status quo. But honestly, I feel like in this case, having more perspective on that, and Sai, if you wanted to share your notes, that would be amazing. And then what we could do is do the tour and say it's primarily based off of a walk through the history of Trinidad, with edits made for to update it and that sort of thing. And I think that would be totally acceptable. And we already got the permission of the Historical Society to use this as an audio, use it to develop the audio tour. So we're good there.
Congratulations on that. Congratulations on that. I said congratulations on getting the historical already behind you. That's great.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Like I said, I mean, I get chills when I talk about it, because I just to really bring it to life for people, I think will be significant. So.
Hey Marty, just Phil, if you have a copy of that, could you drop it off at City Hall and put my name on it, and I'll pick it up when I'm in there? Or if someone has a copy, thank you.
Thank you, Christy.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much for all that work. Thank you. Sounds exciting.
Yeah, it is. I'm happy to do it.
Yes.
Okay, I think Teddy's on with us now, Tom.
Okay. Teddy Wilson from CDOT on Colorado logos.
No, he's not.
He's not with us now?
He's not with CDOT. Actually, Teddy is actually the owner of the smokehouse, but he wants to address some CDOT signage issues.
Oh, okay. Teddy, are you on?
I can't hear you, Teddy. We can see you, but we can't hear you.
He's probably muted.
1 minute, he said. Well, it looks like his mic is on.
Hey y'all, just one more thing I wanted to add. So for the audio tour, I was aiming to start probably recording that and getting that going by probably mid-March, so we can get it out there by the time people are out wandering around enjoying the nice weather. So just in terms of providing feedback, if you can kind of keep that in mind. And Marty, please feel free to have them, you can email me directly about it. I have no issue with that whatsoever. So call me or email me, feel free to reach out, and we can get this going. So thank you all very much.
And with that thought, I'd just like to compute, you've really, I really don't speak enough about this book with people, and so it's been really exciting to hear you talk about it, because I really love the book too. Is there any way that there could be a QR code produced that if people are walking around town, they could shoot it with their phone and that come up immediately for them?
Yeah, so actually, if you have location enabled, it does that anyway. So it's got, that's what's so awesome about it is, you know, Travel Stories, one of the big things is that it has GPS capability, but this does as well. So a person could be walking around town and it's there, you know. So definitely, yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
So Teddy, can you hear me? Okay, you can hear me, but we can't hear you. So do you want to put something together for us and then shoot it to me in an email? And then I will send it out to the board to discuss and review, and then we can get back with you. Is that something that'll work since we can't hear you? Okay, all right. All right, so then Teddy will send us his issues then with the CDOT signage and with Colorado logos, and I will send that out to the board for your review. And then we can just move on with the agenda since Teddy cannot speak right now. I mean, we can't hear you. So we'll address those. We'll just get me that in an email, Teddy, and we'll figure it out, okay? Thank you for coming and trying.
Okay. Introduction of Jared Chatterley, Director of Office of Outdoor Recreation. An introduction of the Lifetime Fitness Race events. Jared, welcome to Trinidad. I think you're going to be a great asset for Trinidad.
Well, thank you, Tom. I appreciate your confidence. It is very much a pleasure to be here. For those of you who don't know, which I think pretty much everybody is already familiar, the City of Trinidad created the Office of Outdoor Recreation and appointed me to be the new director. So among my many different goals and ambition is to put Trinidad on the map as the hub for all things recreation in southern Colorado and northeastern New Mexico. And so I hope to work with you guys in accomplishing that goal through various marketing efforts. But this is my, third week? Fourth week on, 3.5 weeks on the job. So I'm still learning the ropes, getting to know everybody. So if there's any way I can help you all, please please let me know, and I will be working with Marty to put Trinidad on the map, particularly outdoor recreation wise. So.
One of the first projects that, or one of the major projects that we are working on together is a race that's going to become, actually 2 races, a cycling race and a foot race that's going to be brought to town the first weekend in October, and it's going to be hosted by Lifetime Fitness. And so I wanted Jared to kind of speak a little bit on that as far as the Lifetime Fitness races. And so keep in mind that this will be taking place the same weekend as the Bicentennial. So we're coordinating the logistics on that and how we're going to have both of those events, but that's going to be a huge weekend for our little town. So I know Jared has a lot of other projects that he's working on, but this is one specifically that I wanted him to speak on. So Jared, if you'll introduce that event.
Absolutely. So, Lifetime Fitness, if you're not familiar with, they're the big gym company, a fitness company. They have gyms all across the United States and in Canada. Their marketing program, or their marketing platform is to put on major races. That's how they market, rather than just doing the traditional marketing. And so they are responsible for the Leadville Race Series. It takes place in Leadville every summer, June through August. And not to toot their own horn, but they pretty much take a majority of, or a lot of credit for revitalizing the economy of Leadville after the mines had closed. Their race series came in and put Leadville back on the map as far as their economy. And they actually have a headquarters based in Leadville to do their races. And they do very large events. Like they do the Miami Marathon that has 22,000 participants. They do the Chicago Marathon. Their race director, Tim Brocious, was with Ironman triathlon for a very long time. So they definitely know what they're doing. They've been in operation for a very long time now. And so I'm not exactly sure the story as to what turned them on to Trinidad, but they came down here earlier in the year, and well, earlier I would be say last year, and kind of looked around and liked what they saw, and then they were back here, I guess it would have been a couple weeks ago, to really kind of formalize what they were hoping to become a Trinidad race series. And they liked what they saw. They were particularly turned on to the gravel grind aspects of the community and the county, and have decided to formalize an event. It'll, as Marty said, the gravel grind or race part of the event will happen October 2nd. They've outlined 3 different courses, one a 35-mile-ish course, the other in the neighborhood of 80-some miles, and then the big, I guess they call it the professional or the athletic, the athlete course is 155 miles and goes out towards Ludlow and way out that way, all starting and finishing in Trinidad. The next day they're planning on a marathon, and they're working on the route for that. They project for the first year, and we're hoping that COVID restrictions will be a lot less restrictive, to have between staff and participants between 800 and 1,500 people here in town just for those events. So there will be a significant impact on our community, of course in a positive way, we're hoping, with heads in beds, restaurants, just exposure to the world of what Trinidad is and what Trinidad has to offer. So we're doing all we can to ingratiate them. We're pulling out all the stops and trying to make them feel as welcome as possible, because an event like this could grow every year. to the neighborhood of tens of thousands of people here to race every year, just as they have in Leadville and some of their other events. So we're very excited. They're going to come down here again as they continue to develop the race. So Marty has been working very diligently on coordinating this event with the Santa Fe Trail commemoration and trying to put all the cogs in the right places so everything works very smoothly. And Marty and I almost share an office, so I get to hear all her conversations that she has about what's going on, and she's working very hard to make it all come together. So we got to give Marty a round of applause for her efforts on making it all happen. But that's kind of the basic plan. Again, the race will start here in town and finish in town, and it promises to cap off what will be a very cool week here in the area with the Santa Fe Trail commemoration and then the adventure races. So any questions? I'm happy to.
Just a comment.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, it worked out pretty good. They were planning this big party for them, so.
Actually, that's kind of one of their concerns, is that the first year we're going to have, all the flowers and feathers out on Trinidad, that in the following years, we're going to have to put on a pretty good show. Otherwise, people are going to be a little maybe disappointed after being here the first year and then come back the second year and we don't have a week-long festival to celebrate the race so, but yes, it will be a very big weekend with that going on.
We'll just have to plan a big event every year around the cycling races. So
Chris,
that's right. That's job security is the event coordinator.
Phil, I think you were mute.
That's right.
Yeah, I was. Mr. Chatterley, I was just going to say, I know that you've not been formally introduced to City Council yet, and I hope that Mr. Valentine will do that this next Tuesday. You might want to brief us on this just briefly, so that we can. We've been trying to stay on top of recreation and what is happening, and some of your proposals that you have going on. So, anyway, thank you and welcome aboard.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. Look forward to chatting with you all.
Anybody else have any questions for Jared?
No, I do not.
Jared, thank you.
Thank you both very, very much.
You, Tom.
Thank you.
And we look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
The new wrap for the I-25 billboard south of Trinidad.
I missed the last tourism board meeting, and I apologize for that. But in going over the recording and the notes from that meeting, one of the things that was brought up was discussion of rewrapping the I-25 billboard south of Trinidad. So I did add that to the agenda for discussion.
Marty, do you have any ideas on that? And then I'll just let everybody else see if they have any ideas on a new wrap, or if they want to stay with the Welcome Center. Camilla, I'll start with you.
Not at this time. I have, I might consider just staying with the Welcome Center right now to support them.
Chris, do you have any ideas maybe for a new billboard? Do you know where that billboard is at by any chance?
I do not, because I turn left and go to Texas. I don't go all the way down, so I haven't seen that one coming back. So I'll reserve, my opinion on it. I would like to see some different possibilities, examples.
Okay.
I don't personally think pushing the travel center right there is the best way to get people to stop in Trinidad, but that's just personal.
Okay, thank you, Chris. If you come up with anything, Marty, when is this due by, that we have to have this rewrapped?
While you're having discussion, let me look that up.
Okay. Cy, do you have any ideas?
Just that, is this the small sign?
This is the
Yes.
small sign right outside of Trinidad, right?
This is the one that the Welcome Center's on.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so just to be cognizant, it's a very small sign. It's 65 miles an hour.
Right.
And so, to do as much as we can with as little words and little things that we can, because it's a small sign. So a lot of small print, you aren't even going to read a small sign with Trinidad. So, the Welcome Center, I hear what Chris is saying, or, just, Trinidad, Colorado, Trinidad, 34 restaurants, or, just something very small on that sign, just because of the speed in which you go by, and it's a small sign.
Yeah. I
Go ahead, Chris.
I think, is that the one that's just before you come into town?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Right hand read, right behind it is a sign that says Colorado City.
I keep trying to read it. I can't ever get it all in my head before I go through. I don't know which one you're talking about now. Yeah, it definitely needs to change.
There's a Days Inn sign before it, and then the Welcome Center sign is the next one. But I think background color is an important thing. Something that'll pop right out at you. I think that would be one of the things to look at. And like Cy said, Trinidad on it, and the exit that you get off is that 13A? Is that what that is, Marty?
13A is the first one, and then 13B is next.
Okay, so it'd be
So it's
Trinidad.
right.
Yeah, I do think that it needs to be a color that'll pop at you. Amanda, do you have anything to add?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
for some reason, I'm having super technical difficulties today. So for the last 20 minutes, I've been talking, but I guess I wasn't.
We're sorry.
No, it's okay. I just wasn't sure if you guys were mad at me. No, I'm just kidding. But I do agree with Chris in that let's change it up and put something on there that's going to make them exit immediately. I don't know where are we sitting as far as advertising for Fisher's Peak. Is that still a no? A no?
I didn't get that last part, Amanda.
Are we still not allowed to advertise for Fisher's Peak? Anything? Can you guys hear me?
I didn't get that.
I haven't heard anything recently. The only communication I had on advertising Fisher's Peak is that they didn't want it in the Colorado Tourism annual visitor guide that's produced by the state. But most all the advertising I've been doing, I've been directing them to the Fisher's Peak website, so that because it's more current, they keep it more up to date and people can have current information on it. So I think if we include the website in any of our advertising about Fisher's Peak, we should be good. I don't know that we can, since it's such a small billboard, I don't know what exactly we can put on there that people are going to see in the 8 seconds that it takes, if they'll remember what that website is or not. So I don't know.
Yeah, and to the point where Cy was saying, we've got 35 restaurants, we've got one state park, we've got X amount of hiking trails. I know that turns into a lot of text, but something that's just an immediate, hey, we've got this to offer you, you should call off right now so we can get you filled up, we can get your belly filled, we can stretch your legs, kind of just something to the point that's a stop now, immediate, catch your eye, attention grabber. I don't know what that is, but that's. That's what would pull me off the highway, you know.
The reasoning behind advertising the Welcome Center primarily was because the visitor count at the Welcome Center is so low. Is how we'd lost the access points when the highway was redesigned. And so we were trying to encourage more stops at the Welcome Center for information, and then we could redirect them into town for whatever services they were in need of. That was the primary reason back when the Welcome Center was decided to put on that billboard.
And I know
Just giving you.
totally. I think if you pass the billboard, there's a road sign too on the side of the road. It's just one of the road signs that says Welcome Center, Highway 12. Kind of gives you another direction that's up there too. So at least we wouldn't be losing some sort of advertising telling us that the Welcome Center is up ahead without that billboard. So yeah, if we can utilize this as an opportunity to get people to stop quicker, I think we should go for it.
Just a big red sign that says "Stop in Trinidad before you enter Colorado," or "You must stop in Trinidad before you know." That's kind of a joke, but something like that.
Or something like your first stop. For a while, we marketed very well. We saved the best for last on southbound traffic. So northbound traffic, #1 Trinidad. You might have to say why, because we're the first community. As they enter, we have the first junior college, we have the first school system, you know, but you don't have to put any of that, but you could just put #1 Trinidad, or it is very small sign.
And so I did look at the contract. It does not expire until, it looks like September of this year.
But we can change it before then, right?
I'm not sure you would want to, but I mean, you've already paid for this amount of time. I can follow up and find out for sure.
So for us, we need to change it by next September, right? Is that what you're saying?
That's the deadline. Yeah, the deadline is in September. Right. I will find out if we can do that before then.
So I think maybe we should leave it till September for the full use of the Welcome Center for the summer, maybe, and then change it in September. I think so. Being that the Welcome Center has been closed for part of 2020, I think maybe we should leave it and get its full use. I don't know what anybody else thinks about that.
What, Tom, do you think it's really doing that job? Is it, you know, especially right now, is it serving a purpose to go ahead and bring them in right now, enough to leave it? I mean, I hate to waste the whole summer with the same sign. Just thought.
Here's my thought on that is if we could come up with something catchy that pulls you off onto Main Street with a bright color, I think, you know, but the thing of it is coming up with something, and I think we could come up with something that'll pop. But my thing is like Marty said, we're trying to help the Welcome Center build back up, you know, and I think that would be the thing for me, you know, but that's just my opinion. If anybody, you know, what everybody thinks, you know, is I'm on board with what anybody else thinks. But I do feel that we kind of need to continue trying to help our Welcome Center. You know, that's one of the things. And like Marty says, once you get to the Welcome Center, she can direct you to wherever you want to go in the city. You know, but it's our numbers are so low there. But I'm on board with what anybody else can come up with.
I still would like to advertise the Welcome Center. If people are coming to Trinidad, they have every intent of stopping here to begin with. Maybe if we change out the billboard and says Colorado Welcome Center or Trinidad Welcome Center welcomes you, to let them know that we do have a welcome center here to begin with, and that would be promoting them. I don't think putting anything on the sign necessarily is going to have anybody 2 miles outside of Trinidad pull off the side of the road unless they really had every intentions of stopping here to begin with, or they're going to fly by. But still a catchy sign too. But I'm all for still promoting our welcome center. I really am. So we could change it out, but I still would like to say, you know, like the Trinidad Welcome Center welcomes you, and something on that effect. Because 2 miles outside the road, I do not think people are going to swerve off the highway just because a sign says something. They've already have every intention with their phone if they're coming here.
Just a little background. Just a little background for the rest of the new board members. There was at one point dollars associated with the Welcome Center that were provided by the Colorado Tourism Office for welcome centers around the state, and because we were our numbers were so low in visitation, that was one of the reasons why we did not receive funding, and it was a significant amount of money. So we were one of the board's intents at some point was to increase the visitation at the Welcome Center so that we could be back in the good graces of the state to receive that funding. Now, there was no funding available last year, obviously, because of COVID and tourism marketing was way down, and support of the visitor centers was not, it wasn't allocated because it wasn't there. The governor did not reallocate the funds for the welcome centers. But going forward, I think we really need to increase our numbers. One of the proposals that I've made to the city manager, and I also discussed this with the mayor, was at some point relocating the physical building, the Welcome Center building, to exit 11, and I identified some property that might be available. And I noticed, and thank you, Mayor, for bringing that up in the State of the City address, that might be a possibility. I don't know what a timeline is or if we have funding for that. So, Mayor, I'll let you speak on that if you would.
Yeah, like I said, I just presented that you know, in the future that you know, this city council may have to look at a new welcome center, and where that will be placed is unknown at that time. I didn't mention a place at, you know, during that State of the City address. But that is something that we recognize that is going to be a benefit if we can get a new location and a new building. The one thing I was going to mention, and Marty, you're probably aware, some of the new members may not be aware, the state does have, or did have, money available for capital improvements or capital buildings. I don't know if it's still there. Have you contacted, what's the lady's name at the state? I've lost her name.
Kathy Ritter is the CTO director.
Have you been in contact with her? Because the state, their money that they, I guess they actually had extra money that the state received this last year. If they are going to be doing anything different for the tourism centers, because they did have some money, some additional funding that came into the state. Now, whether tourism got any part of that, I don't know. But it might be something you may want to contact her and see if there's anything that they're going to be doing different.
I'll follow up then with a note to Kathy and find out if there are capital improvement funds and if there's anything available for welcome centers. I know that we did have an actual face-to-face meeting with Ms. Ritter, also with Elizabeth O'Rear, and Tara
Marshall?
No, not Tara Marshall. Taryn. She's the director for the state for the welcome center. So we did sit down and meet with them. And she did say at that time that there were capital improvement monies available and that she would help us build a new welcome center. So I don't know if COVID has changed that. I don't know if the new governor is allocating money for things like that for CTO or not. but I will definitely follow up with a letter to Kathy Ritter and find out what the status is.
And getting back to the actual building, if that's something that council wants to take up, we do have different grants that we have received. Access going to Fisher's Peak from Trinidad. There's probably going to be some work being done through those surveys, and through those surveys we may be able to find out the best possible location that they might recommend in there. So that remains to be seen when we move on that project.
Thank you, Mayor.
Hey, Phil, on your best possible locations, I could see where Exit 11 would benefit a lot of travelers off of I-25 and for the state park. But my concern is how we would totally miss Trinidad once you put a welcome center up there. So I do hope that they do look at all the areas, because I do feel that you already have your gas, you have Walmart, you have your motels, now you have a welcome center. You can pick up all these things and head south and head north and totally bypass Trinidad. And I think that would be a disservice to our businesses on Main Street and for the town of Trinidad, for the welcome center to be moved in a location for that. That's my opinion.
You do have a good concern, and that is a concern of mine as well. But like I say, through these surveys, if that's what comes out of it as to for the best placement, we'll have to see how that works. And of course it'll be council's. They'll make the final decision on that through their recommendations. But yeah, that is something that is of concern, is to make sure that downtown Trinidad is serviced through the Welcome Center as well.
One thing to keep.
Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry too. One thing to keep in mind: if we can get them to stop at that exit, and if that's where the new travel center is, then it's the travel center and the employees there, and what we provide them to make sure that they come on down the street into Trinidad. So you're not going to lose it just because it's a little ways out of town. You've got your sales tools in there for all the museums, the restaurants, and everything else. So then you talk them into basically coming on into towns.
Chris, just to let you know, there's probably maybe 3, maybe 4 possible locations of where they might recommend, and I'm not free to say at this point where they're at, but there's some in town, and that one possibly that Marty's talking about. But these will all be taken into consideration, I'm sure, if we get to that point.
Yep, I'd be curious to see them all, but time will tell.
The other thing on the Welcome Center, Marty, it seems like there's a lot of money that's being put in a lot of different places. Maybe when you do make that letter to Kathy Ritter, that some mention of what we're possibly doing, and if there's a possibility of getting our Welcome Center back on the state funding, if you could do that, I'm sure that would be a thing that they would like, that what we're planning on doing in the future. That I think it's very important that we get back on the budget of all the welcome centers of Colorado, because since we are the only welcome center in Colorado not being budgeted by the state, and that's the one thing that I would like to see happen again.
One other item that probably should be included going to Kathy Ritter is, Marty, do you have a copy of that CU study that they did last year of the potential? You might want to forward that potential study to show the impact that we could possibly have, with Fisher's Peak, because that'll probably raise some ears, I'm sure. Right? And she may already know.
I will. I'll include that, Mayor. Thank you.
This is Jared.
Go Go ahead, Jared.
Just a quick comment circling back around to Amanda and Fisher's Peak. Yeah, they're still very kind of tight-lipped about how that's promoted. I already kind of got a little bit of a butt chewing for saying stuff that wasn't entirely accurate, and so they let me know that the dialogue should definitely kind of run through CTW before anything goes out to the public. Just an FYI.
Thank you, Jared. I guess it's better to get those.
Jared.
I think it's better to get those out of the way right away. Those butt chewings.
Yeah, it was invigorating. No.
So Marty, we'll get back to you on the wrap, or maybe we could come up with some ideas for that wrap, and if we're going to go through the summer or change it, maybe some ideas. If anybody has any ideas, maybe they could stop by and talk to Marty or give them their ideas, and maybe we could come up with something in the next work session. Does that sound okay with you, Marty?
I like 2,000 feet from your seat, Trinidad Welcome Center. Just
there you go.
There's that moment you're butt in the car seat, and that's how far away it is.
And I just have a quick question. We're due for a wrap, correct? We don't have to pay for a new wrap. We're due for one, or is this something we would pay for on top of our monthly bill?
It's part of the bill, Amanda.
We're due for a wrap.
If we waited September when the contract expires, then there is a new charge for a new cycle, a new annual cycle. I don't know if there's a charge to change it out now, but I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
If you could find out on those two things, Marty, thank you.
Usually on road signs, just based on the other road signs that I've done, is if it's not in your expiration period, you have to pay for a new wrap. That new wrap would probably be somewhere around $600–700. It's what it used to be. I don't know with COVID if those prices have changed. So if we would want it before the end of time, it would cost us $600–700 at the time of the renewal. We usually have also a fee for a new wrap, but if we decided to change that wrap before the time of our contract being up, we would probably just use that same new wrap and not incur that cost when we sign the contract.
That sounds right. Thank you, Beth.
Okay, board reports. Staff reports.
Okay, so staff reports. As you all know, I'm in several boards. So I'm at one of those boards. This is Canyons and Plains board. And Tom, I have reached out to Rick Wallner, our board president, to include you in those meetings. So when the next meeting happens, you should have had an invitation to that. If you haven't, let me know, and I will make sure that that happens.
Okay, I was out of town, Marty, but I will get on the next meeting.
All right, so there's a lot going on with Canyons and Plains, and as you all know, Trinidad and Los Animas County is now included in the Canyons and Plains tourism region. 2 years ago, the Colorado Tourism Office redesignated tourism regions in the state, and we're now included in the Canyons and Plains region. So I reached out to that board and said, we need to be included in everything that's being promoted for this region. The Canyons and Plains region existed prior to our being redirected into this region. So they already had existing resources out. They had a website out. They had Facebook out. They had all these different media opportunities that they were promoting, and Los Animas County wasn't part of that. But now that we're in that region, I have reached out to them and said, we need to be included because the tourism office says we're part of this region. So I joined the board as a representative from Los Animas County. and we're working diligently. I'm working diligently in getting and making sure that Los Angeles County and Trinidad is included in all of their resources. So we have applied for and received a marketing matching grant from the Colorado Tourism Office. We're working. It was a $10,000 project. So we got a $5,000 match from the Colorado Tourism Office. $4,000 came into was matched by the Canyons and Plains, and then we had identified $1,000 in kind match to that. So we did receive that marketing matching grant from CTO. With that matching grant, we are now working on a better landing page for that website. It is canyonsandplains.org if anybody wants to see that. So that's in progress, and Los Angeles County has been identified as in that region. So that is on the Colorado Tourism Office's webpage as well. So you can go to cto.com and look at the regions, and so we are now included in that region. We are also working on a Colorado Tourism Office social media co-op. In December, we have partnered up with the Colorado Tourism Office and are working on Santa Fe Trails Bicentennial right now. So that's the current project that we're working on. And it is on the Colorado Canyons and Plains Facebook page. And we are actively updating that to include all of Los Angeles County and Trinidad. On the website, we are redesigning the website, the Canyons and Plains website. Apparently they had a website prior to my coming on, and that website was not able to be maintained or updated by any of the board members. So they dropped that page or that web developer and are launching a new website. And so that is currently under construction. We are also working, we received a grant to craft. Some of you are, we have received a craft mentorship. So we meet every Tuesday. We talk about what we need to do on that program to promote the region. And so we have also been working with Andrew Grossman with the Colorado Tourism Office, and we're awarded a $50,000 promotional campaign. So in your packets, you will see the niche rollout plan that came about. So first you'll see the Craft Recovery Mentor Summary Report, and it gives you an overview of what that craft partnership is and what we're doing. We have some deliverables that we're working on, and right now the area that we're focusing on is the Santa Fe Trail Bicentennial. And as you know, the Canyons and Plains region is where the Santa Fe Trail travels through. So it starts at the Kansas border, goes through Lamar and La Junta, and then kind of travels southwesterly into Trinidad, eastern Los Angeles County, into Trinidad and over Raton Pass. So all of that is located in the Canyons and Plains region. So we are working on promoting the Bicentennial for this year. The symposium, which is an annual event that is hosted by the Santa Fe Trail Association, will be taking place in La Junta this year. And it travels back and forth between Missouri and New Mexico. But this year the symposium is in La Junta, and it's a big year for us. We are celebrating 200 years of the Santa Fe Trail. So we identified the Santa Fe Trail Bicentennial as what we needed to promote this year. So we've developed some press releases, and we're really working hard on promoting the Santa Fe Trail, both in La Junta and the event in Trinidad. And we're able to use that $50,000 match funding that we got from the Colorado Tourism Office to do that. So it's not costing us a whole lot of money. We're doing real good. Each month we promote a different, I guess you could call it a area of interest on the Santa Fe Trail. We promoted in January America's First International Highway. In February, we promoted Charlotte's Kitchen, which is something that you can find at Ben's Old Fort. In March, we're doing the trail threading with gold, and how the pioneers and those people that were heading to the East Coast and the mountains of Colorado, or the West Coast and the mountains of Colorado, for gold and silver mining. And then in April, we'll have another one, and throughout the year, all the way into the actual anniversary celebration. So that's one of the things that we're doing with Canyons and Plains. The other one is a niche rollout plan that was identified by the Colorado Tourism Office. So you can see we're really working closely with the Tourism Office. And the niche promotional opportunity, we're working with Andrew Grossman right now. And they have hired Destination Think, who is a marketing agency that helps in tourism promotion. And so in your package, you'll see those black and white sheets and what this promotion is all about, rolling out this niche rollout plan. And so I included that so you can kind of review that and see exactly what's going on with that niche rollout plan. And so there's a lot of activity you can see that's going on with the Canyons and Plains region. A lot of money attached to it, so we're really taking advantage of that to promote the Santa Fe Trail as well as our region. And Tom, I'll try to bring you up to speed so that you know when you do attend the next meeting exactly what we're talking about and what we're doing.
Okay, if you could send me that info.
It should all be in your packet.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so the next board that I sit on is the Scenic Highway of Legends board, and you might have heard, and I've sent you information that it's a pretty exciting announcement, but the Scenic Highway of Legends is now a national byway. We did receive our designation, and that's huge for us because there are national byways across the nation, and to bring that to their, we're now out there as a national byway. So it's very exciting news for us. We've tried to send those press releases to all of the media outlets in the state, as well as outside of the state, to try and get people to notice that the Scenic Highway of Legends is now a national byway. So we worked hard on getting that grant written and trying to get that designation. So it's really satisfying, I guess, to know that the hard work that you put in actually did something out there. So the Colorado Tourism Office has got it on their website. It's being highly promoted right now. So that in turn will bring a lot of attention to our little neck of the woods down here for the Scenic Highway of Legends. So we're real excited about that. We're also working closely with the Southern Mountain Loop and the PAL study on what the improvements that need to be made along Highway 12 and the Scenic Highway. We're working right now on the electrification of the scenic byways. We're working with certain agencies on identifying areas where we can put charging stations along the byway. We're looking right now at a possibility of maybe locating EV stations in Stonewall, possibly in Levita, and another one possibly in Walsenburg. So we can electrify our Scenic Highway of Legends. We're working closely with San Isabel Electric on some funding for that, as well as some state funding for that. So moving forward with that. We're working real close with the Council of Governments, as Walt Bolden, who was part of that Southern Mountain Loop PAL study, and identifying areas where the highway can be improved by the Colorado Department of Transportation to widen that highway in some areas, to identify some bike and pedestrian lanes along the highway to make it safer for the increase in cycling along the Byway. So that's another area that we're working on. We're promoting the world-class geology along the highway, so the radial dikes and the KT boundary, and trying to promote this region as a geological area, and bringing in some tourism for those individuals who are interested in geology. So trying to identify all the areas where we stand out in Los Animas County, and we have a lot to offer, so getting it all out there as much as we can.
Marty, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
It's always been to my attention that billboard that's probably, it's on the northbound side, probably around exit 8, and it's a billboard of the Highway of Legends. And I could remember discussion that we had with Malone is her name, right? About who owns that billboard. They don't have any idea who owns that billboard. But
No,
I think it would be a good thing is if we could get on board with the Highway of Legends to maybe have it repainted and put exit 13 on it. But I think it would be a good thing. It's pretty faded now, but I do think that it would be another billboard for exit 13, where Highway of Legends starts. So maybe we could maybe try to work something out with them.
Okay. Right now, the Highway of Legends does not have any funding available to redo that billboard. It's just, we're trying to work on memberships for cities and towns along the Byway so that we can have some working capital, so we can do some work on things like that. And right now we don't have any. We're reestablishing our 501c3 status so that we can apply for grants and so forth. They were not a 501c3 prior to this. And so we have decided that that's something that we need to do so that we can get some funding in our bucket. That being said, Tom, I looked for that billboard and I can't find it. So can you, the next time you're in that region, can you snap a picture of it so that I know which one you're talking about? Because nobody seems to know even the existence of this board.
It's a painted picture of the Twin Peaks, and it has Highway of Legends. And if you're coming north, it would be after the main entrance to where the state park was before they created the new one. So I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it is on the northbound side.
Marty, I'm driving from Raton into Trinidad today. I will give you an exact mile marker of where it's at.
Perfect. Thank you, Amanda.
Yep, you bet.
Hey, Marty, this is Phil. Something, and I'm sure that Walt Bolden probably knows of this, or he should, and being that it's the Highway of Legends, and we do have, the Allegiance coal is opening up the mine. And just for your information, I'm not sure if you've heard, but they're going to start production later this spring. Until they get the new rails or the rail back in place, the times that they're going to be running trucks up and down Highway 12, they think that they will probably have a truck every 15 minutes running up and down that highway. So that's a huge amount of traffic. And I just want you to be aware of it so that if it does crop up in any of your meetings, that is something that until they get the rail in place within the next 2.5 years, it's going to be a concern.
Yep. Yeah, it was brought to our attention at the last meeting that was something that we were going to have to deal with. I mean, we can't tell them not to travel the highway. I think we just need to make people aware of the impediments now. I don't know how we can do that.
One
I
of the
guess
other
we can
things
put
that,
something on the website or on the Facebook page or something for travelers to be,
just be aware of heavy traffic.
diligent.
Yeah.
Yeah, be aware of heavy traffic. So we might have to address that somehow, Mayor. See what we can come up with. Maybe that's a CDOT question. Are they going to be posting some signage saying that that's going to be taking place? I think that falls in their ballpark. I don't know.
Yeah, it does. The other thing that they mentioned about that is that I think they're going to try to avoid some hours. I think that I think they mentioned about the times that school buses may be running. That may be the only time that they may not be running those trucks. So they're going to try to run at optimum hours to so that they're not interfering with some things, I guess.
It's not only the truck traffic every 15 minutes. It's probably all the employees also going up and down after each shift.
That's true.
So
they did say
then,
up to about 50 employees that would be initially starting in the spring.
yes, but it's probably still less traffic than when all of the Evergreen and all of those trucks were running up and down, because it was bad then.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, so that's it on Scenic Highway of Legends. Santa Fe Trail Byway is another board that I sit on. And the Santa Fe Scenic and Historic Byway falls under the auspices of Canyons and Plains as well. So we are also right now working on updating our nonprofit status for the Santa Fe Trail. We're developing an annual work plan so that we can update the 2017 corridor management plan. So as a byway, that is one of the things that has to be done every 10 years. And so we won't come up until 2027, but we are working on that right now to make sure that the corridor management plan is updated to include a lot of the Santa Fe Trail into Trinidad. So that's kind of falls under my umbrella, is to make sure that everything that's identified in that corridor management plan in the Los Alamos County area. I've enlisted the help of Commissioner Felix Lopez to help me update that plan as well. So working closely with Mr. Lopez on that. We're working with a craft recovery mentor to develop content marketing plan that helps tourism partners across the travel region coordinate a celebration of the Bicentennial. So also working real close with those Santa Fe Trail Scenic and Historic Byway partners like the Santa Fe Trail Association and others along the byway, located in La Junta and Lamar and Prowers County, etc. We're also completing a current inventory of all the directional and interpretive signage that is found along that byway. So the board members are traveling, physically driving the Santa Fe Trail to make sure that we have identifying signage along there, any of it that needs to be replaced or upgraded or anything like that. So we make sure that we're trying to do that before this Bicentennial so that everybody has the has some good signage to look at, kiosks, etc., that are located along the byway. We're also fostering and building a relationship between the Santa Fe Trail Scenic and Historic Byway and the Canyons and Plains and its partners. So trying to making sure that everybody's on the same page. We're working with a CTO recovery mentor and creating an editorial calendar with the monthly topics and the themes and boosting monthly Facebook posts on the Santa Fe Trail Bicentennial. And they too are working on an electronic vehicle byway grant so that we can, it's a charge ahead grant is what it's called. And we're working real close with them to see if we can get EV charging stations along the Santa Fe Trail Byway. And we're working closely with Southeast Colorado Power to partner with, and try and identify and locate some EV charging stations. That seems to be a very important aspect now of our new generation. You know, we're trying to clean up our air and drive, you know, less impactful vehicles, so to avoid air pollution. So electronic vehicles are the thing of the future, and we want to make sure that we're ready for the Santa Fe Trail Bicentennial update. So in your packet, you will see a list of the event activities that have already been put in place. August the 15th, History Colorado Artifacts display will be located here at the Welcome Center. This is being provided by History Colorado. And so here at the Welcome Center, we're going to have Santa Fe Trail artifacts displayed beginning August 15th all the way through August or October 15th. So you'll want to stop by and see those artifacts. They include everything from Indian relics to pioneer relics, etc. So the cost for that is it's a little pricey, but it is coming out of our existing budget for the Bicentennial. But I think it's a huge thing that will draw people into town. And obviously for any visitors to stop and see those artifacts, this is a great opportunity for them. These artifacts are located in Denver usually, so bringing something like that to Trinidad will, you know, give them another reason to stop and see, you know, things about the Santa Fe Trail. The week prior, the week of the 27th through the 30th, that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the planning committee has identified those days as being the days that we will be conducting tours of the Santa Fe Trail. So we're looking at a tour east of Trinidad along that portion of the trail. On Tuesday, we'll do a tour of the Baca House and the Santa Fe Trail Museum. On Wednesday, I'm working with individuals who are currently in possession of the Wooten Ranch and hoping to do a tour in that area. And then on Thursday, I'm working with Crystal Dryling on perhaps doing a tour of Fisher's Peak and where the trail passed through there, and maybe doing a little talk about how the military and Mr. Fisher, Colonel Fisher, I believe it is, or was it Captain Fisher? Not sure. Anyway, one of the two actually climbed the peak, and so we're going to do a little portion there. And then on Friday is when we'll do the last of the tours, which will be Daughters of the American Revolution. We'll be doing a presentation at Kit Carson Park for the largest DAR marker along the Santa Fe Trail actually exists in Trinidad. So the DAR is going to do a presentation at the park. That evening on Friday, we will have our event Kickoff. So we'll start out with music from two cowboy Western type musicians that are going to come into town. They will be actually performing at the symposium first, and then they'll run down here and perform for us. And in between those two sets, we'll do the actual kickoff. So I'll introduce the planning committee, city officials, any performers that we have, and that sort of thing. So that's taking place on Friday. The Marketplace Gallery on Main Street will be doing an art opening that weekend, and they'll all be in period dress. So that'll be nice as well. We've also put out an invitation to all of the downtown merchants, or we're going to put out an invitation to all the downtown merchants to decorate their windows Santa Fe Trail themed, as well as if they want to dress up in period clothing as well. So we'll have the businesses, you know, following the theme as well that entire week and on that weekend. I have two individuals that are located in town that are going to be dressing up in period clothing. I'll have one as Bat Masterson, and another is going to be Kit Carson. David Lamb and Jeff Schultz, and they'll be walking up and down the streets, talking to people and kind of just making a historic presence. And then Main Street Live on that Friday night is going to do a historical performance at the SERT theater. So that'll be just the evening on Friday. On Saturday, you can see that list includes a lot of stuff going on Saturday. So we're going to kick that off with the Rotary Club doing a flapjack breakfast in Miners Memorial Park. Following that, we're going to have the Buffalo Soldiers. And for those of you that don't know who the Buffalo Soldiers are, they are an all black regiment that was active in that period. And so I've talked to our Public Works Director, Bob Just, and he said that barring any other use of the field, that will be taking place at Los Niños, which is just 2 blocks south of or north of Main Street, so it'll still be centralized. And they're going to do a performance out there and a talk on the history of the Buffalo Soldiers. And then downtown, there'll be a lot of activities. We'll have an Adobe maker. Bent's Ford is going to allow us the use of a traveling trunk, which is a youth program, all on the Santa Fe Trail. And then you can see all of the different activities that are identified there. They're kind of in a different color. The A.R. Mitchell Museum has stepped up to bring in a lot of demonstrations. So broom making by Tom and Penny Bieber, knife collecting, leather braiding, donkey and a horse pack train, a chuck wagon, saddle making, and the list goes on and on and on about all the different things that are taking place downtown. Doug Holdred is going to be doing a presentation on Santa Fe Trail maps and trails video. You'll see quilt show also listed there. And so there are some quilt makers that will be hanging quilts in the windows downtown. Again, our little street strollers will be going up and down the street. The United Mine Workers of America wants to do a Mexican dinner at Coal Miners Memorial Park, and they also want to provide some mariachis to go along with that dinner. So you'll have mariachis playing at the same time that they're serving their dinner. The El Fandango Folklorico dancers will be here. Wes McKinley is coming in and doing some cowboy poetry. We'll have some wagon rides for the kids. And there's going to be another Main Street Live performance that evening at 7 o'clock, as well as a proposed event by the A.R. Mitchell Museum. They would like to do their fundraiser that evening. So all that's taking place on Saturday. On Sunday, the Kiwanis Club has agreed to do a pancake breakfast. And then we'll have, I believe Chris has nailed down a Comanche chief that is going to be speaking on the Native American aspect of the trail. The Aztlan dancers will be performing. And then the Colorado Springs Conservatory will be performing on both Saturday during the day and then again on Sunday morning. And then Main Street Live is going to be having a matinee that they're going to be performing. Right now I'm speaking with some plein air painters that would like to set up along the Riverwalk during the event and doing some painting. So that's what we've got going so far, working on all of that.
Hey,
Marty,
Marty, this is Phil. A couple of things I was going to mention to you. Do you guys have on your list to invite our area representatives, Richard Holtorf and Cleve Simpson? They're our state representative and state senator, maybe to speak, possibly. The other thing a couple of things I was going to mention. You said that I think you're going to have something going on at the Los Niños Park. Did you talk to the Catholic Church to see if they would allow you to maybe use their field instead of Los Niños because it's a little more centralized? The third thing.
Yeah, that was because my primary contact was Mr. Pierce at Holy Trinity. But when the Lifetime Fitness group came into the picture, they asked if they wanted to meet with Tom Pierce to use that as their registration area and a meetup area for the cyclists and runners, and then using the gym for presentations and so forth prior to the races. So that's why I moved to Los Niños.
Okay.
Because we're going to have those activities at the same time.
And the last item I wanted to mention is, have you kind of entertained the idea of getting the entertainment district for a couple of those evenings to close down this week? That would be great.
Yes, so that is presenting a bit of a problem because of the A.R. Mitchell's event. If they're going to be serving alcohol, they would need to make sure that nobody would be going in and out of their event with any kind of alcohol, because they are actually in the district at the same time. So we're working out the kinks in that one to see if we can have the entertainment district and the A.R. Mitchell Museum both serving alcohol at that time.
Marty, if they stick to their bracelet bands, then that's way to prevent the Mitchell from them going in with the bracelet bands. Because I know they're all planning on doing the bands.
Right, but if you have a bracelet on and you are going to be attending the A.R. Mitchell event, then what's to keep them from walking out of that event with alcohol that they have, got at that event?
Hey, Marty, one of the things that's good, you might talk to them and just, I don't know, being that it's just a one-time deal, is if they would talk to Audra and maybe the people that are in charge of the entertainment district to maybe include them for that week as part of the entertainment district.
I have spoken to Audra, and so we are working on that. I don't know. It's a little gray area there. I don't know if we'll be able to do that or not, but we are in discussion.
Doesn't the entertainment district have their own cups, and that cup is not allowed in the Mitchell or would be out? So that's between the cup and the band would be the big signifiers.
Right. They would just need to have to post somebody at the doors to make sure that there's no, intermixing of the two. Yeah.
Sounds like you guys are doing a heck of a job. Congratulations on all the work that you're doing. I know it's a lot of work, but looking forward to having maybe a few good days. Hopefully this COVID-19 will kind of be behind us and have a good week doing that.
Well, that being said, I have a meeting with the health department on Friday, Mayor, to see what the picture looks like for the fall. And he's reassured me that by that time we should be good to go, with very few, if any, restrictions on us. So he's told me to keep my foot on the pedal and keep moving forward with plans, and it looks like it's the only thing that they're a little bit worried about would be any variants that peak up, their ugly head rises. But I guess Moderna and Pfizer are working on a vaccine right now that would also be effective for any variants that pop up. So I will keep you all posted on the COVID restrictions and what's going on there as well. That being said, I'll segue right into events. It looks like Artocade is planning on moving forward with their event. The Blues Fest has also been in contact with the health department, and he's reassured them that they could probably go forward with their event in June, July, and August. And other events are starting to move forward. So I've only had 2 event applications thus far. Well, actually 3. The Lifetime Fitness event, the Santa Fe Trail event, and Artocade are the only ones that have requested permit applications for events thus far. So we'll see how that goes. As far as grants go, we have not received any grant applications yet, except for Artocade. But I have sent out many grant applications, so we'll see how that goes. This cycle actually doesn't start until March the 1st, and they've got till March 31st to get those grants in. And then last but not least is the Welcome Center update. As you can see in your packets, our visitation is still way down, but it is way down across the state, so we're not alone in that. Some of the Welcome Centers have just reopened after COVID. They've had some positive testing with some of their staff, and so they just reopened. But hopefully, as this COVID pandemic and the restrictions ease up a little bit, our numbers will start to rise. But here at the Welcome Center, we're working and moving forward with our retail license, and we should be able to start selling retail merchandise here at the Welcome Center, hopefully by the 1st of April. So we've got all our paperwork with the Secretary of State done. We've got Audra's helping me with all the IRS paperwork. We've got our point of sale coming in probably by the end of next week, and then we'll start ordering merchandise and getting that rolling by the summer. And that's it. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Marty.
You're welcome.
One other thing is, I talked to Cheryl yesterday, and she gave me the numbers that for 2019 and 2020 on the revenue that we received. We landed up being $31,861.54 less than the year of 2019, so which is pretty good. One of the things is they started collecting the money from the AIRBNBs, and that landed up coming in at $9,300. So by us receiving that money, we kind of helped us with the shortfall. So just to let you all know where we were from 2019 to 2020. So we really didn't take that bad of a hit.
So, Tom, with that question there, so that means we would have been $40,000 short had the city not started to do that.
Right, and I really do appreciate that. And there's go ahead.
No, sorry, I was just going to ask you. Is the sheriff? So I'm trying to gauge that $10,000 with Airbnb. Was that over? I know it was last year, but did that collection start in January? Did it start in June? Did it start in August?
This was from the third quarter.
Okay, so we collected $10,000 for one quarter.
Wow.
That's kind of where I see it on this email that she had sent me.
Yeah.
I maybe. Is that right, Marty? Do you have that up?
I don't have it in front of me.
Yes, it says begin collecting.
Does
it says begin collecting in the third quarter.
Yeah, so then that tells me that we will collect at least 40,000 or somewhere in that vicinity for next year from Airbnb.
Right, and then there's the other collection which we haven't been, and I don't. Which one is that side? There's the Airbnb.
VRBO.
VRBO. We haven't collected anything from them at all, but the state's gotten involved, from what Cheryl tells me. So the possibility of those two would really up our income, which is really good. And the state, I don't know if the city is working with the state on that, but the state is trying to collect that money from them. So
yeah, I know a little bit about that, Tom, just because I'm in the business. So there were so many complaints worldwide about the way the services operate. So Airbnb took it on as their flag, so they started doing it automatically with the city. And VRBO is trying to follow that performance.
Yes. So I would like to tell Phil that thanks the city for working with that to get that money for us. We do appreciate that.
Well, that's something that's been on, council's mind. We've had some discussion about the Airbnbs and VRBOs, and we'll continue to look at that and see what crops up with it, because I know there's interest in people putting up the Airbnbs themselves, some additional ones, I think. So we'll see what happens, but it will help, the the tourism fund going forward.
Yeah, and it is fair. It's not fair for the motels and hotels that collect it and have to pay it, and for them not to. So I do think it's good that they're coming on board.
I agree.
On that note, Tom, in communicating with some of these Airbnb owners and the VRBO owners, the word I'm getting is that they are constantly full. I mean, they roll from one visitor to the next, to the next, to the next. They very rarely have any vacancies. So, I mean, they're really doing good.
Yeah. That's
capture those. Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing also, and by these numbers, you could just see that, So that's all I have to say is that. Anybody else have anything else they want to say?
No, just great thanks to everybody who's worked on that, and I'm glad that we're starting to see it come to fruition.
Yeah. Next meeting, March the 10th, 2021.
I have a question real quick. Simple one for
Chris.
Marty. Do you know anything about the farmers market? Is it going to be back in place this summer?
What I've heard is the Cooches are both experiencing some health problems, and I don't know if we're going to have a farmer's market, if they've passed that on to anybody else or not. Camilla is actually the one that filled me in on that, so she might have more.
We are talking to a group of people right now to take it on. Joyce and Jimmy are unable to do it anymore. They will be an advisor to whoever and help them get started. But I do have a group of people that you guys don't realize that it is from June until October. It takes every Saturday of your life. So we need to get a group of people that will interact. There is only one board member left from the old board that is willing to stay on right now. So we are trying to work with a group of people to take it over. If we can't find that group, we might not have a farmer's market. So they are themselves are working, and I'm working on with this one group of people too. So hopefully we could get it together. That's all I got to say. We are working.
Hey, Camilla, this is Phil. Being that, you said it takes a lot of time for one group to do that, for a commitment for that time. Have they considered maybe getting two different groups, where maybe one group could take the first half of the summer and then another group could take the second half?
Well, the group I'm working with, there's probably about 8 people involved in this little group, and they're willing to do it because then they each could take a weekend, one weekend and pass the weekend off. It's just that they're trying to. It's a big group. It's 8 or 9 people, and they're willing to take it off. There are men and women in this group, so they're willing to do it because there's a lot of work involved. Jimmy used to set up, all the tents himself, and he had help to set them up. So there is there's a lot of work involved. So we are working on it the best we can. I'm really trying to push this group to take it. So I'm going to threaten their lives. And they know if they don't take it, it might be over. So you have anybody that's interested, Joyce and Jimmy will do anything. They are capable to help you, to show you the ropes and do everything, but Jimmy has suffered some health issues himself, and they are in bad shape right now. I should say they are doing very good, but they're in bad shape. So we are working on it. I'll get back to you guys. All right.
Thank you, Camilla.
Thank you, Camilla.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good.
Tang you, everybody. Have a good day. It's beautiful outside. Enjoy it.
It got cloudy out here.
Go ahead, Marty.
Can you make a motion to adjourn, please?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Second. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Outside it's beautiful until the next snowstorm. Thank you.
Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
everybody. Have a great day.
Doggone it.
This conference is no longer being recorded.